and welcome to Cordo Coaching. This is the series where you get to come along for the ride for a Magic Limited coaching session. I'm Alex. I'm joined after a little bit of a hiatus with Nathan. Nathan, how's it going?
Good. Yeah. What happened to Midnight Hunt? I was completely available.
Yeah,
you weren't. What happened?
Crimson Vow. We did maybe one episode if I remember, and then I hadn't seen you for 3 months. You had a bit of a life event, isn't that right?
Yeah,
Nathan?
yeah. We had a baby since the last episode, so that kind of chewed up my life there for about 3 months. But I was able to game a little bit on the mobile, but not really at my desktop. And we're slowly getting back to normalcy, and I've been able to jump into Kamigawa here, and I'm loving it. So I'm just excited to be back playing Magic and recording with you.
Awesome. Yeah, so for those who have not seen this series before, the way we do it is, I go through Nathan's draft log here with him. He talks about his thoughts. I talk about my thoughts. Basically how I would take, conduct a coaching session just to get Nathan up to speed on the format. Nathan's done a few drafts of the format, but, it's always good to go along with somebody who's done more drafts of the format to get some takes that maybe you're not so up to speed with. If you haven't watched this series in particular, the way we do this is every pick of the draft, I will give Nathan a agree, a disagree, or a, kind of somewhere in the middle. Just like, I don't quite agree with it, but I think that's a fine pick. It's basically just Nathan's way to track how he's doing. He keeps all the results on a spreadsheet, and at the end of, each season, each format, he kind of sees his improvement, how he's tracking. So I'll be giving him one of those 3 grades for each of these picks, and we'll talk about each of these picks. Nathan, why don't we just jump right in? Waste no more time with this first pick here. We have kind of an interesting pack. Really, interesting in the fact that there was a sweet 5-color card in the pack. There's some other options too, but what are your thoughts about the pack here?
I have to give some insider knowledge here. I did catch a little bit of your stream before I made this draft. So this is, I think, my second draft in the format. Mm-hmm. And I saw you go ham with Spinning Wheel Kick. Yeah. So I was like, wow, that card seems really good.
Yeah.
But I that's about all I knew out of this pack. And I was really leery about taking a 5-color card. And I have no clue if that's good or not in this format. I looked at the Mythic and I said, you know what? I'm just going to go with the one that I saw worked well. And the other one I was looking at in here in the pack was Spirited Companion. I always like those ones that come in and draw a card.
Totally.
But those are the 2 I was looking at. Where should I have landed on this?
I think that the Kamigawa or Spinning Wheel Kick are both solid options. Very good. Like you were saying, Spinning Wheel Kick is, I think, one of the just huge overperformers of the format. I think a lot of people, myself included, looked at this card and were like, oh, it looks kind of clunky. It looks like it's just like, a really expensive fight spell. Even when you get to the, the 2 fights, or the 2 bites, I should say, you can get blown up by instant speed removal. The thing about this card, though, is there's not a lot of instant speed interaction in this format, and there are a few Death Touch creatures in green. So a lot of the time, this is just 6 mana kill 2 things, or 8 mana kill 3 things. Really, really quite strong. Just, small note on the Kamigawa. I think this is a legitimate build around. It does take some build arounding. Of course, you need to pick up enough lands or maybe some network terminals or some fixing. But it is really, really good when you get there. Totally fine to take the more safe option here with the Spinning Wheel Kick. So I'll give you a thumbs up, agree on that one for sure.
All right. Is network terminal playable in this format? I'm still getting up to speed on the
I always say there's a manolith stage of the format where, people are, myself and, all the people who've drafted like 40, 50 times, plus are like, well, just play a bunch of different colors. And I think this format there's a bit more fixing than normal. I think that manolith stage of the format potentially might come a little bit earlier. So if you're looking to do some wild things and, cast, something like the Kamigawa, I think it's a totally reasonable thing to put in your deck.
Got it.
All right. Pack 2 here. What do you got going on here?
I was already out of my depth with this pick. Mm-hmm. So the Acquisition Octopus seemed pretty solid. I like these reconfigure cards. I've definitely, as I've played through more drafts, keep forgetting that when you kill the creature that it's equipped to, a new creature just spawns right then. Yep. So that's been a big learning curve.
I've definitely gone look, I have lethal. Kill the thing, the reconfigure comes off, and I'm like, oh, nope, still gotta wait another turn.
There's a blocker there. I was looking at Assassin's Ink, because that's just straight up removal, and it's instant speed, which I think you just mentioned is in short supply, but I didn't know that. I was just looking at it because it looked like a good card. Or Master's Rebuke. So Master's Rebuke, Assassin's Ink, or the Octopus were the 3 I was looking at. I landed on the Ink.
Yeah, I would just take the Master's Rebuke here. It's a similar, keeps you green. It's a similar effect. I guess the context here for this card being close to as good as this card, or potentially, better sometimes, is that the fact that there is, there's the Fang of Shigeki, which is the 1-mana 1/1 Death Touch enchantment creature, which is a pretty high pick. That's actually a card you want in this format in your deck because, enchantment creatures are generally good. And yeah, I think just staying green here is really nice. Like, there's not that much of a difference between these two cards, honestly. If you look at the stats, I think this is like half a point or like half of a percentage point or something better than this. And it's just not worth going into another color, in my opinion. So I would just take the Master Rebuke. Bit of a not a mistake, more of a disagree here. I think this is fine, but I would have taken the green card.
Okay.
All right, and what do we got here?
I went back on color and I took this Generous Visitor.
Yeah.
I've played against that one a couple times, and man, that thing can be a house.
Yeah, Generous Visitor is awesome. So you're already going down a path I really like. I definitely agree with that. Two things I love about Generous Visitor is it's green, and green's the best color in the format, in my opinion, along with black. It's pretty close. And the enchantment stuff, all really good. Really love, going deep on the enchantment synergies. There's kind of two big camps of synergies in this format, the enchantment synergies and the artifact synergies. I think the enchantment synergies are a lot better than the artifact one. So if I can get myself in there, really big fan. All right. Let's move on to pack 4 here. Thoughts?
I really wasn't sure which direction to go here, so I just kind of kept myself open color-wise, and I took the Hot Springs in case I went green-red.
Yeah.
I don't know that I was really looking at too much else in this pack. I'm not really sure what's strong in that pack.
Okay, so there's a lot of strong cards in this pack, but they're all deceptively strong. So let's go through these quickly. Imperial Oath, Virus Beetle, Network Disruptor are the 3 cards that stand out to me as these are actively great cards in the format. Network Disruptor plays well with the ninja stuff, obviously. If you do have artifact synergies, it's an artifact for that. Virus Beetle is one that is deceptively good. This kind of effect is not usually like amazing, but in this format where people are trying to, they really want their lands either to cast 5 and 7 or 4 and 5 drops, or to be able to loot away with. There's a few looting effects that are commonly played in the format, like the modern era. There's this puts pressure on your opponent's hand. It's also really good because there's a lot of other discard effects in the format that are pretty good. So like multiple discard effects combined are good. It's good to sacrifice. It's an artifact. It works well with ninjutsu, where you attack and you ninja it back. Really a big overperformer. And then Imperial Oath is another one that you might have heard some people talk up if you watched streams lately.
I saw your set review where you were super high on it. How has it rated out? I haven't seen.
It's great. It's just one of the top performing commons. Fantastic. Okay. I'm happy that I hit on that one. It just stabilizes you extremely well. White's not very aggressive, so you really want defensive cards in white, and this is such a good version of that. So all 3 of those cards are awesome. I would probably take the Virus Beetle, considering you already have the Assassin's Ink here over Spring. Another thing is just I think red in this format is not particularly great. And outside of very specific, really artifact sacrifice heavy builds. So I'm less into taking a red card, more into just taking a black card. So I don't know. I think that's on the line of classifying this as a mistake or a disagree. I think I would say it's a mistake because you're taking a gold card and you're taking a red card. I would just take the Virus Beetle there, I think.
All right.
Another piece of context is that green-black is fantastic. Just the best deck in the format. Like I was saying.
Good. Green
and black are the 2 best colors. Really, really would like to get into that in green-black. Just smushing those two colors together is a good thing to do.
Perfect. It's good to see green-black solid.
I know, right?
Really good.
It has its time in the sun. All right, what do we get? This is a pretty good pack, actually. What's going on here?
Oh, God, it's interesting you said it's a good pack. I was super lost when it came to this. I wasn't nothing seemed like it went with what I had already picked. And so I was looking at the Okiba Reckoner raid. I wasn't sure if that's good or not. I mean, it seems like getting a menace 3 turns later is a little slow. And then a lifelink is always good. And I know it's a different color, Golden Tail. I was actually really flummoxed with this pick, and I think I landed on the Golden Tail. I didn't even look at the 2 artifact uncommons.
So Nathan, no shame to you. You made the mistake that a lot of people have made in this format by passing Okiba Reckoner raid. This is the best common in the set. Fantastic card.
Like best common in the set, or black?
Yeah, it's in the set. In the every common.
Wow.
This is, in my opinion, this is the best common. It's just so efficient. It's a 1 mana 2/2. Yes, it comes down a little bit later, kind of on suspend, sort of. But that drain matters a lot. You can pick it up with your enchantment matters cards. You can buy it back from the graveyard. It's just a really fantastic card. And Circuit Mender is also a great card, and you could take that if you wanted to stay a bit more open. They're close in power. I would take the Reckoner Raid though for that high upside, especially because you've dipped into black already a little bit. So I'd be taking that there. So I think this is the first true mistake I can very confidently say I would have taken the raid here.
So you would have been pretty firmly in green-black now, because you would have taken the Virus Beetle and then the Okiba Reckoner.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's the path I'd be going down here. And Disciple is a fine card. It's not a bad card, but not one that I would take over Reckoner Raid or the Circuit Mender here.
Got it.
All right, next pick. We take a Sousa of Many Journeys. And, once we get to the latter pack, half of this pack, where maybe navigationally we're kind of settling in here. We'll just speed through a little bit here. This is the best card in the pack. I would take that. I also really like Commune with Spirits here, especially, it's not that hard to have a lot of enchantments in your deck, where this is just like really good card selection. So that's what I would take second if I wasn't going to take a Sousa's Many Journey. We move on to pick 7 here. We take a Jukai Preserver. Yep, great card. Really like Searchlight Companion as well. Pretty nice as ninjas, just a good thing to block X1. There's a lot of X1s in this format, so this is a totally serviceable card that I would pick up if this wasn't here. But Preserve is great. It's an enchantment. It's just a solid card.
Yeah, I did one of those Phantom drafts yesterday, like the midweek madness. I ended up with like 4 Searchlight Companions just to try it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are great. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Really, really solid. Really, really solid. We went to this. And
so this one I was really... I wasn't sure here. I took the Story Weave because I don't have any experience accelerating out the sagas. So I was looking at that or I guess the Tanuki. I'm sorry, I mean the Yamazaka, in case I ended up green-red. What would you have done?
I would just take the Virus Beetle here. It's that good. Like, how much I was talking about talking up the Reckoner Raid? Virus Beetle's not that much far behind, honestly. Okay. It's really powerful, even though it just like looks super unassuming. Story Weave's an okay card. I tend not to play it. It's just like accelerating the sagas doesn't matter all that much, I found. Greater Shnooki's a fine piece of, fine part of the green decks. Nothing special, but fine. And I found the Yamazaki here to be a little bit clunky, essentially. So one of the things about green or red is red really cares about artifacts. Green really cares about enchantments. Bit of dissonance there, right, in your deck a lot of the time. So yeah, I would generally I tend to stay away from red when I'm drafting green.
Okay, good to know.
So, we ended up on the Tanuki here?
I ended up on the Story Weave.
Story Weave, okay, yeah. I would classify that as a mistake, I think. We take a green card. Yep, Bearer of Memory.
Yeah, I took the green enchantment.
Yep, agree with that. We're going to pick 10 here. We take Brute Suit. Oh, I would take Tamio Safekeeping here. Or Harmonious Emergence. Both these cards are totally serviceable cards. I think
the Harmonious Emergence is actually playable?
Yeah, it's like... It's an enchantment, and that matters a lot. And just, being a 5-mana 4/5 haste, essentially. That's what it turns into.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm into this card. I'm into Tamio Safekeeping as like a protection spell too. You've got a few high-value creatures already, so protecting those is pretty nice if they go for a removal spell. Card I want to copy of.
Yeah, I didn't see the indestructible thing, so...
Yeah, that matters too, because sometimes you win combats. You get a disappearing doggy. You pick up...
Yeah, I really thought it wasn't going to draft it. That's what I took there. Was that a agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree with the Spirited Companion. That was one of the best cards in the pack the first time around, so it's nice that it came all the way back. Do we take Imperial Oath here?
I did take the Oath this time.
Okay, sweet. I was like, oh no, Nathan's going to take the combat trick. So, yeah, agree with the
I was
Oath.
reading it, I'm like, what does this card even do?
And what do we get here? End of the pack. We take an Emergence. We take a Bamboo Grove Archer, which has been a fine card. Totally reasonable. And we move into this next pack here. So we're pretty green at the end of pack 1. I think one of the I'm thinking back to almost a year ago at this point. I think actually maybe exactly a year ago when we did our first Koro coaching episode, Nathan. And I remember last year Nathan was very all over the place in his navigation in pack 1 a lot of the time. That was call time, to be fair. It was a bit of a many colors happening there. But this is a start where really happy with what you've done. You've just gotten deep into one color. You've left yourself flexible for a second color. Maybe you got some little bit dipping into black, dipping into white, dipping into red. But really, the world's your oyster, and you can kind of just do whatever you want. So let's see what we have going into pack 2 here. Thoughts on this pack?
And I accidentally found myself in the best color.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was looking at the blue rare, or because I was like, I'm kind of open in colors, or this Era of Enlightenment, just to stick on the green-white enchantment theme. Or I was looking at the Haven to say, like, I'm not really sure of any of these. I can just take any color. I think I landed on the Era of Enlightenment.
I would take the personally myself would take the inventive iteration. It's one of the best cards in the format. Top like 5.
Okay.
It's just fantastic. Like you've happened to stumble upon in this draft some of the best cards in the entire format.
Great. This is the way to learn.
Yeah, exactly. And so you don't even have to be blue-green. The nice thing about this card, and funny enough, some of the other greatest cards in the format, like the Kiki-Jiki Saga and Jugen Defends the Temple, they're single pipped. And there's enough fixing in the format where it's not that hard to splash the single pipped awesome card. So I would just take this here. Maybe you move into blue-green, but probably you just splash this in like a black-green deck or a white-green deck or something.
Okay.
Yeah, there's also Twin Shot Sniper, great card, but not as good as this one. Arrow of Enlightenment's a fine card, fine, filler card essentially, but Iteration's excellent, so I would take that there.
All right, we'll put that down as a mistake.
Yeah, move into this one, and we take Befriending the Moths. I would take the Jukai Preserver here. Both of the white common sagas are a bit more filler. They're like, okay, but they're both kind of, Befriending the Moths in particular is kind of an aggressive card. And that's not what white really wants to be doing very often, especially when paired with green. It wants to be a little bit mid-rangey, be a little more defensive. Jukai Preserver is just a better card for that plan, essentially, than Befriending the Moss. Because Moss just comes down, doesn't block for 2 turns, then turns into a flyer. This thing, Jukai Preserver is just an enchantment. Well, so is the Saga, but it's an enchantment creature. It's a giant thing, can push damage. It's quite good. All right. This pack here?
So that was a mistake, right?
Yeah, I would say, that was a mistake.
Okay.
This pack here?
I took the Tails.
Yep, Tails is awesome. Tails is good. I would probably take Oath if you knew you were green-whites, but Tails is a super
I guess it looks like I am green-white, so do you want to put that as a mistake?
Yeah, if you're currently positioning yourself as green-white and you don't, you don't see yourself pivoting out of anything else, although I could totally see you pivoting out of white. I don't think you're tied to white at all. Then yeah, Imperial Oath is a better card. But I think like if you time walked back to the seat and you have me leaning over your shoulder going, Nathan, you don't have to be green-white. It's okay. I think it's totally fine to take the green card there.
So is that a disagree or a
mistake?
mistake?
I would say it's more of a disagree, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, we're on record pace for the most mistakes ever in the draft in our first episode.
All right, moving on to pick 4 here. What do we see?
I wasn't really sure about this turtle. I haven't seen it on the battlefield. And I thought I was green-white, so I just took the green-white land.
Yeah, green-white land is fine. You could also take the removal spell, the Intercessor's Arrest. I think that's totally fine,
Is that good in this format? Isn't pacifism usually garbage?
Yes, that is true. Pacifism is usually not so good, but this is a special pacifism in the sense that it does a lot of things that pacifism tends to, the reasons we don't like it, because, they can still use activated abilities, they can, crew vehicles where that's relevant. This shuts that down. And it matters because it's an enchantment, right? You care about having an enchantment in your deck. And, it's not an amazing card. I'd say it's like a C+ probably. But it's a totally serviceable card that I'm fine with in my deck.
Okay.
Yeah, I would probably take it here myself. A note on the Sky Turtle. It's good, and you can play either mode in... you can play the green channel mode in just a green deck, or the blue channel mode in just a blue deck.
Think about that.
And it's generally just okay. So I wouldn't take it here myself. I would probably take Intercessor's Arrest. Although, there's also the thought of you could just take Sky Turtle, pick up a blue source or 2. When you have the blue source in your deck, the blue dual land, you can cast it for 7 mana. When you don't, you can just channel it. So that's an option too, right? Blossoming Sands is also fine too. I'm never gonna disagree with you taking Mana Fixing, honestly, especially because if you take Mana Fixing now, maybe you're open up to a splash later, right? You feel more comfortable putting an island in your deck because you have a green-white dual land. So I think it's a disagree, not a mistake. I would have taken probably the removal spell of the turtle, but again, the land is totally fine.
Okay, perfect.
All right, we went to here. We see another Befriending the Moths.
I landed on the Fade into Antiquity.
Yep, I would take Fade too. Fade's been a totally serviceable card, totally fine playable. I would move into here, take the Kunai. Yeah, I think Kunai's fine. Kunai's in.
I just learned after a number of drafts that Kunai can go face.
Yes,
I did not know that.
I was gonna mention that. I'm sure there's a lot of people watching who still.
Somebody killed me with it. I'm like, how'd they do that?
Yeah, you're like, oh wait, what? They have 3 burn damage on the table. I'm sure there's people watching who still don't know that that's what that does. So
in my mind, I had short circuited it to what was the one that killed werewolves?
Oh, Silverbolt. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was just Silverbolt.
Yeah,
it's just like Silverbolt.
A little bit better. We take a Season of Renewal, which is a card I like a lot. All right, so pack.
Yeah, I've had good luck with that.
Yeah, it's good. It's just buying back. You can often get 2 things back with it.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and put this as a mistake because I took Repel the Vile and we're going to say
yeah.
Imperial Oath.
Just for future reference, I would play in a deck setup to cast them like three oaths. Honestly, I think it's hard to have too many oaths. Because they stabilize you so well and they chain into each other. Right, you go oath, find your other oath by scrying 3 a lot of the time, and yeah, it's really powerful.
I think this pick was irrelevant because I thought I was green-white.
Oh, I would take Shrine Steward here. This is a totally serviceable card if you have any auras or shrines in your deck. So I would take that at least on speculation, right? I don't think you have any currently. We didn't pick up that enchantment-based removal spell, but Shrine Steward has been a totally fine card.
Okay. Yet another mistake.
Yeah,
perfect.
Another mistake. Move on to... We had that Jukai Preserver back. Yep, that's nice. Nice little pickup. It's the end of the pack here. Move on.
You can tell this is early in the format and the number of oaths flying around. I took the oath on this one.
Great, yeah. No, you're right though. It's a totally like super undervalued card by the community. It's rightly so. It doesn't look like a special card by any means. I don't think so. You're gonna get them for a while, I think. All right, these packs don't matter.
The next 3 picks are just irrelevant.
Yeah, Crudgles is quite unplayable. Not gonna play that. And the pack here doesn't matter too much. All right, we move into pack 3, and what do we see in pack 3? Do we get a bomb? Ooh. We got a pretty spicy card.
I wasn't sure if this was a bomb. I took it, but like it seems clunky, right? It's a 1/1, and then you can attack and make it a 2/2, but then usually they're just going to eat it.
Yeah, so basically you're getting 2 2/2s for 2 mana over time, which is just a good deal, right? The friend side.
That's a good point. I didn't think of it like that because you're spotted the first spirit. Yeah.
And then if you can ever get in a good attack with the backside, I found it to be like really backbreaking. You've kind of got like a Rangers class type card on the battlefield, right? So yeah, this one's actually you're right. It is a little bit odd looking, but it's really powerful. It's one of the better rares in the set. So
yeah, I didn't think about that 2 2/2s for 2 mana. That's a pretty good deal.
Just good.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
I was really just focusing on like when you flip it, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, you're like, oh, that's what I get for my time. You're like, I just got a 1/1. But it's for the mana you spent, it's a really good deal.
Totally.
Yeah, actually, let's see what else in the pack. There's also a Behold the Unspeakable, great card, fantastic card. On par with Teachings of the Kirin. Not in your colors, of course, but would be really happy to have that.
And then not much else.
Yeah, not much else. This pack also pretty unexciting.
I was kind of meh on this, so I was just looking at the 3 green cards at the bottom. You may see me poke around just reading some of the other stuff. I wasn't really sure, so I ended up landing on the favor of the Jukai, but I wasn't really sure.
Yeah, I would just take the Tameo Safekeeping. This is, again, totally serviceable card. I'm happy having this kind of Snakeskin Veil effect in my deck. Notable, Life of Toshiro Umezawa. Fantastic card, just like absolutely one of the best cards in the actual like best cards in the set. Like I said with the Okiba Reckoner Raid, it was like best common in the set, and you're like, is the best black common, and this is very similar. Where I think a lot of people might hear me go best, one of the best cards in the set, and do you mean uncommon, Alex? No. This is like by the stats currently, like top 10 performing cards in the set. It's just so good and so modal.
It's just because you get like a 2/3 on the backside, even though it has an ability that you probably don't use that much.
So yeah, the backside doesn't matter that, like the ability, the tap ability for mana doesn't matter. But essentially, think of this as a 2 mana 2/3 that kills something, or gives something +2/+2, or gains 4 life, or any combination of those things, right? Like you're trading on all these sagas, you're trading time for an undercosted card essentially. Right, like you're paying way less than you would for a bit of time, and often that time is a small price to pay for being able to pay 2 mana for that kind of effect.
That makes sense.
All right, now we take a Master's Rebuke. Looking at your creature count, worth noting, creature counts are a bit deceptive in this format.
Yeah,
because sagas do count as creatures.
So I took the you can see me actually move to the saga there. I'm like, what am I at again?
Yeah.
So I took the Master's Rebuke here.
Yep, I would do that too. You don't have to take a dorky creature. The Exemplar is not so good. We went to this pack, closing out our draft here. Yep, Sunblade Samurai is a totally fine card if you wanted to take that.
That's not what I ended up taking. I ended up taking the web spinner.
Yeah, I think
is that a mistake?
This card is a bit dorky and clunky, I found. Just like 1/4, it's good against like the ninja deck, but not that impactful anywhere else. And the reconfigure cost is, a little bit clunky. I haven't found it to be very impressive. So I would just take the Sunblade Samurai there.
All right, so I'll put that as a mistake.
Move on to pick 5 here.
Because the Samurai can mana fix you a little bit too, can't it?
Yeah, the Samurai mana fixes you. It gets you out of mana screw. Because a lot of times when you have like 5, you want to play a 5-drop, and this can help you get there. The little life boost is kind of nice too. We might take one here. It looks like.
No, I ended up taking the cheaper enchantment creature.
Oh, the bearer. Yeah, I think the bearer is pretty medium, so I would take the samurai. The samurai is not amazing either, but it's better than the 3-drop, especially when you already have one of them. All right, we take a decent 2-drop here. Yep, nice. Oh, still looking at some stuff.
I was think about that or the life gain guy. And I did take the 2-drop.
Yeah, I would just take the 2-drop here. It's a totally serviceable 2-drop. I imagine we take another Jukai Preserver here.
We do, yeah.
Yep. Sweet. Do we take another Jukai Preserver?
No, I actually took one of the safekeeping because I was like, I think I'm good on creatures.
Oh, cool. Yeah, nice. And so, here's our wheel. There wasn't much on this wheel, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it was irrelevant. I took the reality heist just to start to build out my collection.
Yeah, totally fine. All right, so that's the end of the draft here. And I think this has ended up being a totally fine deck. There's, it's not exciting. You don't have any like bomb rares, but honestly, I think this format is not so much about bombs. It's more about solid uncommons and commons. You do have the Teachings of the Kirin, which is a good card, and you've got like a few premium uncommons here. So I mean, overall, I'd probably give this deck like probably a 7. You've got a quality curve of creatures. You've got it's hard to go wrong with green cards in general. I found you've got some decent removal spell, decent interaction. I would maybe have liked, to have a little more power in there. Picked up that blue saga that we saw in Pack 2. But, otherwise, I think this was like a finely navigated draft. I probably would have gone into black-green myself, like you're mentioning, with a bit of a splash. I just don't think there's that much of a reason to be white. And so, we would have ended up in slightly different spots, but the way you got deep into green is really, really great. And I really appreciate that. And that's what I would have done as well.
So, solid 34% mistake percentage with a 44% mistake plus disagree percentage.
Nice.
Only room to go up from here.
Yeah, well, we say only up from here.
Yeah.
So, what's I'll send it to you as we sign off here. What are some thoughts, some takeaways from this draft? Maybe some ways you're looking at the format a little bit differently now.
I think having played, let me look at my numbers real quick. I think I've played 5 drafts. I think the format's a little slower than I thought it was going to be. I've played 6 drafts.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's slower than I thought it was going to be. Like, my just general impression is that you can come out the gates a little slower.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm running into people who are dropping... I can't remember the name of the saga that is power and toughness equal to your lands. Like, there's just some beefy guys at the top end. That I feel like they hit kind of early. I don't know why. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, I guess I would say it's not fast in the sense that, you're getting killed by 2-drops and 1-drops a lot of the time. I mean, sometimes you do, but that's kind of a rare occurrence. But it is, I would describe the early turns of this format as tense, where you feel like you need to still get on board so you don't get run over by the ninjas, so that when your opponent plays that Boseiju Sage saga you're talking about, you don't feel like, oh, I can never beat that card. You want to have a board presence already so that you can like try to tussle when there are 6/6 flips on turn 6, So fast, no. It's not like a fast format. And yes, sometimes you're going to face somebody who doesn't play anything till turn 3. But you still want a curve that looks similar to what the one you have here, right? So that you can both, not get run over by the few aggro decks in the format, and so you can like get on board to beat the value engines. And that's actually the bigger thing. You want to get on board early so that when your opponent plays saga into saga into saga, you don't just get decimated. You don't just get crushed by their value turning into creatures. That's the main thing.
Sure. Makes sense.
Sweet. All right. Great first episode here, I think, Nathan. Really, really snappy. Any last words from your side, I guess?
I wish I could stay in bronze and silver for the whole time. Like, my win percentage is awesome, but I know that's not going to stay the same as I move up.
Oh, yeah, I guess I'm sure some people are curious. How did you do with this deck? What was your record?
This went 6-3. In general, in the format, I've done, like I said, 6 drafts. I've trophied once, and I have a 68% win percentage.
Oh, not bad.
But again, that's all bronze and silver. I think I finally have moved up to the upper echelons of gold, so I think that's going to start to trend downward soon.
Totally, yeah. It's always regresses towards the mean, of course. All right, Nathan. Well, thank you for rejoining us once again. I had a few people asking, where'd the coaching series go? So I'm glad we could bring this back. And we'll see you next time. thank you everybody for watching.